Okay, let's see what the Ben has to
biggest
say about
breaking news morning in, I don't know, about half a century in terms of the legal sphere.
Look how giddy this nerd is, dude. He's just like, oh, my pussy is so wet right now. I'm Ben Shapiro. And hypothetically, what if my pussy was so wet right now at the thought of women being denied bodily autonomy by the federal government?
Because last night, Politico broke a story. And this story is stunning for two reasons. One, the content of what the Supreme Court is apparently ready to do. And two, the fact that it was leaked. We'll start with the second story first. So last night, Politico reported that a draft decision by Justice Samuel Alito that had achieved a majority of Supreme Court support, apparently 5 votes in favor, was to basically overrule Roe versus Wade. Not basically, entirely overrule Roe versus Wade, entirely overrule Planned Parenthood versus Casey, and return the issue of abortion to the state legislatures, whereas where it originally resided. And the fact is that the Constitution of the United States has nothing to...
Wait, Ben's sister had a miscarriage? She should go to jail. We should be prosecuting miscarriages. Who's to say that wasn't an abortion? Who's to say that that was a traumatic incident and it was really a miscarriage? I don't know that. I can't trust a woman. That is something that could happen in the foreseeable future. It is something that has happened, by the way, in America in the past and in contemporary American society.
Which means that states all over the United States had various laws with regard to how liberal they were going to be on abortion or whether they were going to ban the killing of the unborn entirely. That was the status of the law up until 1973 when the Supreme Court, on the basis of no precedent, on the basis of nothing in the constitutional text, on the basis of no real logic, decided to simply usurp the issue and then top down a bunch of non-elected judges decided that they were going to decide the issue for all of America. And they put in place this ridiculous viability standard that had nothing to do with reality. And then fast forward to Planned Parenthood versus Casey, and they put in place this undue burden standard, which again had nothing to do with the text of the Constitution or anything to do with the nation's history or biology or anything. Okay, so last night, Politico leaks that this decision by Samuel Alito has a majority support and is going to strike down Roe versus Wade. The leak is an unbelievable breach of every ethic the Supreme Court has ever...
Yeah, that's the worst thing that happened. In this news story, the absolute worst thing that happened in this news story is the leak. Nothing else. Please, dear God, do not focus on anything else. Just think about the leak. Do not think about the implications of what will happen. Do not think about the many times that the Supreme Court justices lied on record saying that they were actually going to maintain Roe v. Wade as a super precedent. Do not think about the top of the hour ad break at the top of the hour every hour where a 6-second ad break runs and how you can avoid those ads.
It's insane. I mean, it's a crazy, crazy thing. Here's what Politico wrote. The Supreme Court has voted to strike down the landmark Roe versus Wade decision, according to an initial draft majority opinion written by Justice Samuel Alito, circulated inside the court and obtained by Politico. The draft opinion is a full-throated, unflinching repudiation of the 1973 decision, which guaranteed federal constitutional protection.
Oh, shit. Shit is popping off, boys. Okay, there it is. Happening now in downtown Austin. Hundreds of protesters are taken to the streets outside of Texas Capitol following the leaked opinion draft from the Supreme Court regarding Roe v. Wade and women's rights.
Right, you take up that street.
Oh, shit. It's already happening. It's already happening.
Actions of abortion rights and a subsequent 1992 decision, Planned Parenthood versus Casey, that largely maintained the right. Now, the fact that this was leaked is insane. No draft decision in the history of the court has been disclosed publicly while a case was still pending, according to Politico. Never. Never, ever. And it dramatically undermines the legitimacy of the court because...
Oh, no. What will we do? The dramatic undermining of the legitimacy of the Supreme Court. No. Fuck you, you fucking bitch. Who gives a fuck? Suck my dick, okay? Suck my fucking cock. Anyone who tries to tell you, like, oh my God, the institutions are infallible institutions, that is just straight lib shit, okay? These institutions are supposed to work for all of us. They are supposed to work for all of us. And the moment that they stop working, and the moment that they start operating in this incredibly partisan, in this hyper-partisan way, that specifically are working as an apparatus for the Republican Party to look like they are successfully abiding by the wishes of some of the most psychopathic but active voter bases, it's over. Throw it in the fucking trash. Fuck the Constitution. It's just a piece of paper. You can wipe your fucking ass on it. These ideas are fake. They're made up. The only reason why we care about them in the way that we do is because other people have told us we need to care about them. If you're going to undermine the integrity of the Supreme Court And this is something that Chief Justice John Roberts would probably agree with. And that's part of the reason why he did not, for the longest time, take this strong of an approach to undermining Roe v. Wade. Then don't act out. Don't fucking make decisions like this. But of course, conservatives could not stop. They couldn't even fucking keep up the facade that these institutions are just fucking bullshit. They had to take it one step further. They had to also act out the desires of some of the most psychotic, unhinged, insane Republican voters in this country that do not represent more than 30% of the entire country, entire nation's attitudes. And if you do that, then people, of course, are going to think to themselves like, well, fuck this shit. John Roberts understood that. Ben Shapiro certainly understands it too. The only time, of course, Ben Shapiro thinks about it is whenever the Supreme Court says, like, I don't know, that gay people can get married, or that, black people can go to school with white people. Like, that's the only time when he's like, these institutions are crazy. What the fuck is going on? They're not abiding by the wishes. Don't try to tell schools what to do. Like, that's the only time that he cares about it.
When you have draft decisions that are now being circulated, the idea is, and there's only one reason this happened, and I guarantee you 100% this came from some clerk on the left of the aisle. This came from, I would imagine, one of Justice Sonia Sotomayor's clerks who decided to be a hero of the Republic and leak out the draft majority decision in the desperate hope that one of two things would happen. One, the public would bring such extraordinary pressure to bear on the justices voting in favor of Alito's opinion that one of them switched over.
Hi, Tina.
Were able to leverage threats of violence, intimidation against these justices to get one of them to flip. Or two, you got Democrats in the Senate and the House and in state legislatures everywhere to immediately snap into place and start passing extraordinarily intrusive pro-abortion laws. And you're starting to see this happen, right? Democrats are already saying, well, we should just kill the filibuster and we should pass a federal law enshrining a right to abortion.
For the record, and I want to point this one more time because probably this is going to appear in a YouTube video. Say hi, everyone in the chat on the YouTube video. Also, please subscribe if you like this kind of YouTube videos and ring the bell for more. The idea that the filibuster needs to be maintained is a silly one. I do understand that, Republicans will go buck wild when they're in a position of power. But the only reason why Ben Shapiro can basically have this take about protecting the filibuster is because Republicans have completely given up on even legislating through the Senate. They have already relegated all matter of legislation to the state legislatures, which they fucking dominate through gerrymandered districts. They've completely overtaken state legislatures all around the country. So they are very good at, one, undermining Congress and the legislative branch when it comes to still pushing for a legislative agenda that completely overrides Congress. The other way that they do it is through the court system, obviously. As you've seen, the Federalist Society is a group of activist judges that specifically are plucking and picking law school students, basically setting them up for a career so that they can become the next Brett Kavanaugh. So Ben can say, they're trying to take away the filibuster or whatever without worrying about it. But if you think for even a brief moment that Republicans needed to destroy the filibuster to get some kind of initiative passed, some legislative agenda item that they needed to pass and they needed to destroy the filibuster for it, they would do it. They would do it in a heartbeat because they want to win, because they want to, at the very least, do something for their audience, do something for their fucking voter base. Whereas Democrats, on the other hand, despise their actual voters. That comes across every time they speak. Every time a Democrat's like, shut the fuck up and vote, dumbass. What do you want? Look at how fucking horrible the Republicans are. You need to vote for us. At a time when they already hold the majority in the fucking House, the majority in the Senate, and the White House, when they turn around and say, you got to vote harder, idiot. You got to vote harder, stupid. Give me some more money, fuckface. Look at how bad the Republicans are. You're basically admitting that, you resent us. You don't care about us. You don't care about what we want. At this point, we're just voting for you for the sake of voting because you're not a Republican. We already have voted super hard. And for some reason, Republicans are still winning. How the fuck is that happening?
That isn't going to happen, but that is what the call is from the left side.
I mean, he's right. It's
that
not
was the
going to
purpose
happen.
of the leak.
He already knows
the leak is
that.
deliberately made in order to put these Supreme Court justices in danger and to jog Democrats to go ahead and pass some sort of federal law, making abortion the law of the land from the federal legislative level. That's what this was designed to do. The person who did this should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, to the extent that they've broken the law. You would imagine that this is a leak of certain classified information. I don't mean national security classified. I mean that when you are in a position with the federal government, you have to sign contracts that mean that you are not allowed to make public the private information that exists at the level of the government. This is true in virtually every government agency. At the very least, this is civil liability for the person who leaked this majority opinion. And
what law is this leaker violating? Do they have a fucking answer to that question? What is the law? I mean, there is no law, for the record. There is no law. They're just like making it up. At this point, they don't even have anything. They're just like, they don't even need to have something. They're just like, it's the law of violating my feelings.
And it could theoretically be criminal. It should be referred to the FBI and the DOJ for full-scale investigation. Justice Roberts needs to lead the way on that. And if there's any evidence whatsoever that the clerk in this particular case did this at the behest of the justice, whichever justice allowed for this, if that's what happened here, that justice needs to be impeached. And that would be true no matter which side of the aisle we were talking about here. Now, the left, of course, will make the leaker the hero of the republic because, as we know, the left is perfectly fine with illegal leaks so long as those illegal leaks cut in their favor.
I mean, that's the same as Republicans, though. Isn't that literally what you're saying about Hunter Biden's laptop or whatever? Like, yeah, no, that's the truth. Yeah, liberals only care about leaks when it favors them, and Republicans only care about leaks when it favors them. You're not making like a cool point here. It also doesn't really make sense that Ben is saying this. Like, I don't know why he's like going after hypocrisy, because like he himself literally advocates for this. There are very few people who are openly, pro leak across the board. I'm one of them. I like it. I wanted to see Hunter Biden's cock. It was fat. Like, I'm a fan of leaks across the board. I think it's more important for us to actually prosecute what is being found in the leaks rather than prosecute who's doing the leaking. But other than that, most people don't care. Like, most people are just like, yeah, I only care about leaks when it's benefiting my side. And Ben is one of those fucking biased idiots, right? It's not national security. It's a matter of national integrity and transparency, democracy. Wait, are you pro-leak then? Because it's transparency is quite literally leaking that document. Once again, people are straight up just fucking trying to find like weird idealistic reasons as to why it's bad. What I was saying is you can't take the position that you're for transparency and then say that this is violating transparency. It's quite literally more transparent to fucking leak Supreme Court documents like this.
And the Supreme Court system completely. And of course, then you have the left saying we should kill the filibuster entirely. And we should just cram through a law. Slow clap for all of the norms of democracy must be upheld crew. Also of note, as we'll get to in a little while, Democrats are shrieking to the heavens, rending their garments, wailing, wearing sackcloth, pouring ashes upon their heads over the possibility that this issue is going to be returned to the states. They're saying this is the death of democracy.
Yeah, oh man, how crazy that, in a country where 18 states already have trigger laws that immediately criminalize abortion at the time, unlikely event that Roe v. Wade is overturned, liberals are being so crazy about this. Oh man. It's like, dude, of course they're gonna freak out about this. This is the one instance where it makes sense that libs are fucking in a state of panic. He will never understand this. He just won't. Unfortunately, he will never understand this. There will never be a fucking, law that makes it illegal for annoying little shitheads to fucking constantly run their mouths, okay? Despite my best interest and despite my best efforts, I keep calling my congresspersons. I keep sending them messages. I keep sending them emails. I follow them to their cars at home, and yet not a single one will pass this fucking legislation that makes it illegal for annoying, smarmy little shitbirds like Ben Shapiro to fucking constantly run their mouths, okay? I'm trying my best!
Democracy. Just a quick definitional point. When voters get to vote on things, that's democracy. So the Supreme Court saying that voters now get to vote on...
Yeah, dude, totally. Voters get to vote on things, and that's democracy. That's really cool, except, not a single, and I said this already on Twitter, not a single fucking state has more than 30% support for fucking banning abortions. But it doesn't matter. And he knows that. That's what the worst part about this argument is that like, it's just more democracy. No, you fucking asshole. There is no situation in which voters are like, I'm voting specifically to make sure that abortions are fucking protected. Half of those fucking states do not have a ballot measure provision. Like, you can't put it on a ballot directly so you can have something similar to a fucking referendum to whether or not you can protect abortions or not. If that was the case, they probably would. It would be a gangbusters initiative because the overwhelming majority of American people in all of the fucking states, including red ones, believe that the government should stay the fuck out of women's pussies, okay? Only relentless, annoying Young fucking freaks like Ben are the ones who are literally constantly like, no, I want to know what you do with your pussy. I don't care. My entire life revolves around telling you what you can and can't do with your own fucking womb. Nobody gives a shit. Most normal people do not give a fuck about this. Only fucking freaks, dude. This doesn't even mean, okay? This doesn't even mean that you can't be fucking pro-life. That's your own prerogative, okay? You can be pro-life individually. No one's gonna stop you. You can be like, oh my God, the little gummy bear fucking jelly bean sized thing inside of me is actually a real fucking human life. That's fine, you know? Then don't take the fucking abortion pill and then, you know, pee it out. That's your own prerogative. Okay? You should be able to keep the baby if you want to. I'm not advocating to fucking abort your nasty ass fucking conservative filth that you're gonna fucking shit out of your pussy, okay? I don't give a fuck. More Ben Shapiro's for you, okay? But if someone wants to have an abortion, a medical procedure that is incredibly fucking safe, which 90% of which happens in the first trimester, you literally go to the doctor says, oh, you're pregnant, by the way. You say, oh my God, I want to have an abortion, thank you. And then the doctor's like, here, take this pill, and then you literally have a heavy flow period, and that's it, because it's not a real fucking thing yet. Then they should be able to have that. That's psychotic. It is completely fucking psychotic to be like, no, the government should stop other people from doing this. And we already know the impact of this, that when you actually end up banning abortions, you're not stopping abortions from happening, you're just pushing them behind closed doors. You're pushing people into getting back alley abortions, okay? Which are actually very complicated procedures all of a sudden that end up harming the carrier and punishing women for no fucking reason. But of course, that is the point. The point is Republicans want to punish women for having sex. If you're having an abortion, you should be punished. If you had sex and you got pregnant, you should be punished for it. That's it. That's the whole point. You're just a fucking baby incubator. If you're married and you have sex, we will punish you if you don't want to fucking have the child. You shouldn't have fucked. Completely psychotic. Make abortions unnecessary. Don't most people get abortions because of finances? There are many different reasons for why people get abortions, one of which is finances. But yes, if your ultimate goal is to stop abortions from happening, if you want to like minimize the number of abortions that occur, there are many things that you can do. Again, another thing that I've talked about many, many times over. One, make it so that it's financially livable to have a fucking child. It's like 13 grand to pop out a fucking little shit, okay? Just the medical procedure alone. That shit is fucking expensive, okay? And it's super expensive to also take care of this child. But other than the finances itself, part of the reason why there are unplanned pregnancies is because we don't have comprehensive sex education, which Republicans also oppose, by the way. Every single state where you have abstinence-only sex ed or no sex ed whatsoever, you have skyrocketing teenage pregnancy cases because that shit doesn't work. Make contraceptives readily available and accessible and free. That way people are both educated because they are getting sex ed now and also have the contraceptive tools to make sure that they don't get fucking pregnant. And lastly, allow reproductive health services to be readily available for people in red states. But once again, conservatives also oppose that. They don't want you to learn about sex ed. They don't want you to have contraceptives, and they don't want you to go to a reproductive health service place at all. And then after that, they want to fucking be able to lie to you when you do end up getting pregnant and stop you from getting an abortion. It's completely psychotic. If Republicans genuinely wanted to limit the number of abortions that take place every year, if they truly thought it was like murder or whatever, this is what they would do. They would try to educate people, try to offer alternatives, engage in sex ed, and create comprehensive reproductive healthcare services. But they don't want to do that. They just want to punish women for fucking. That's it.
On things. That is not the death of democracy. That's a restoration of democracy. If you think that Republicans in charge of Congress and the Senate and the presidency in the absence of Roe are going to pass a nationwide abortion ban, and I'm as pro-life as anybody in America, on a political level, it ain't happening. The best that would happen, the best that you could hope for, is that they would start pushing back national bans on abortion. Right now, the only federal laws that are in place are like partial birth abortion bans. You might see that gradually push back to 20 weeks, 16 weeks, maybe even 10 weeks. The idea of a full-scale national federal ban on abortion, the country's...
A 10-week ban on abortion is already an abortion ban, at the federal level especially. Like he's saying, 26 states, 18 states have trigger laws that mean automatically that they are going to immediately restrict abortion and criminalize it, right? A total of 26 states will have some kind of abortion restrictions. Ben, of course, is never going to mention that because he's a piece of shit, okay? And it doesn't go along with his argument. But not only that, but he's also saying that, well, this doesn't mean there's going to be a fucking full-blown federal ban on abortion. It's like, yeah, that's that's legislation that is going to come at the federal level. But it doesn't matter. You're literally stopping fucking people from being able to have abortions in red states, even if the majority of said red state does not believe the government should interfere in that process. Okay, so that's completely undemocratic. Completely undemocratic. But Ben knows that because he doesn't give a shit. He's a Republican. He knows that the Republican Party routinely overrides the interests of the majority. That's what they do. And now he's turning around and saying, well, technically, there's not going to be a fucking abortion ban. It'll just be a 10-week ban, maybe, in best case scenario. Well, that's already a fucking full-blown abortion ban, you idiot.
It's just too divided for that. It's not going to happen politically. Okay, but that when it comes to the states, that is where the issue is going to be solved. That is where the issue is going to happen. And what that's going to do on a political level, and this is a very good thing, it's going to lead to a continuation of the big sword. There are a lot of people who are worried about the polarization of American society. You know what polarizes American society? When every issue has to be solved top down. That's what polarizes American society. What polarizes American society on the federal national level is when I feel like my life here in Florida is being controlled by people in California.
Dude, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. You can't simultaneously talk about like abortion bans at the federal level while salivating and then turn around and be like, actually, there should be no federal laws that hurt my feelings. You are such a hypocritical piece of shit. How the fuck does anybody who may even question what his fucking integrity is ever watch Ben Shapiro and be like, wow, this is a man of honor. He has so much integrity. It's crazy. He literally just said he wants fucking some kind of control over abortion at the federal level and then turned around and was like, oh, it's actually more polarizing when you tell me in Florida what I can and can't do about abortion. First of all, if we were to look at fucking the state of Florida, I'm almost fucking certain that the majority, if tomorrow, right now, if tomorrow you said in the state of Florida, we're going to have a referendum on whether or not the Floridian government can fucking ban abortion, that ballot measure would get fucking destroyed. They would be like, fuck yeah, we love abortions. Are you fucking kidding me? They'd be like, make abortions free and force Ben Shapiro to have one, a postpartum abortion right now at his, 37 years after he was born. Now, of course, that's not going to stop, Ron DeSantis from doing whatever the fuck he wants to do. He's a piece of shit, but...
When people in California feel like their life is being controlled by people in Florida. When I feel like there's a giant government
like
gun.
Notice I can't get over this. Like, notice how he took for granted, like he just straight up took for granted and made it seem like people in Florida, the majority of people in Florida would be fucking for banning abortions and criminalizing abortions. That's not the case. That's not. You just made that up. You are just doing that right now. Where'd you get that from? You just made it up. You just pulled it out of your fucking ass.
That is pointed at me and my children by people who I don't live near and who don't care about my priorities and who disagree with me. That is a problem. The founders understood this, which is why they created a federalist structure whereby most law was done at the local and state level, not at the federal level. What the Supreme Court is doing is now returning.
Yeah, that was such a great idea. That's why the Civil War happened, You know these arguments. States' rights. You know how it is. States' rights.
The issue that is the most contentious issue in American life back to the state and local level for regulation, which is where it should be, barring on a constitutional legal level. On a moral level, I'm a believer that there should be a constitutional amendment to protect human life in the womb. But barring that, the system provides for the states and the localities to make these decisions. And the fact that the Supreme Court is now abiding by its own role in interpreting the law rather than just imposing it top down. The fact that the left finds this shocking or upsetting is amazing to me. And again, they keep saying things like, well, the people aren't with it. The people, well, now...
Bro, it doesn't matter. You already know that the entire system is designed to fucking completely avoid what the democratic wishes of the people is. Shut the fuck up. It's so fucking annoying. Well, now it'll just be more democracy, dude.
Now we're going to get a chance to find out.
No, we're not!
Now we're going to get a chance to find... But you don't want to find out.
We're never going to find out! It's not a thing! We're never going to find out. There's no democracy. There's no democracy in this country. And as a matter of fact, whenever someone correctly points out that there's no democracy in this country, you say, well, technically, it's not a democracy. It's a constitutional republic. I fucking hate him. He's so stupid. He's not even fucking smart. I'm an idiot. And for some reason, everyone that fucking listened to this asshat is way dumber than me. How the fuck is that even possible? I forget what day of the week it is. Half the time. Fuck.
You liked it when the Supreme Court was doing your priors. You liked it when the Supreme Court was imposing its will top down. Again, the logic here is just insane.
There is no logic.
I'm reading Twitter, and some of these people... So Ian Bremmer tweeted, I'm conflicted on abortion as someone raised Catholic, anti-death penalty, who doesn't think there's a definitive answer on when human life begins. By the way, there is a definitive answer on when human life begins. It's at conception. There's no other science.
What? Where? What is the scientific basis for this, dude? Life begins at conception. That's not. You just made that up. It's like toilet paper. That's how relevant it is in this situation. It's just religion. Like, oh yeah, source. I made it up. Source. God made it up before me. You can't take a incredibly complex philosophical argument and then turn it into a definitive truth because your God says it is. What the fuck? I'm not even going to do that classic, like, I thought religion and state was separated. It's just not. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this country. I hate Ben Shapiro. I hate Ben Shapiro's followers. Literally, it's just like reducing the fucking concept of what it means to be a human. A concept that, like, you know, philosophers have endlessly argued on and saying, well, it's well established. It's well established where? In my mind, because I believe it. So it is the case.
Of human life beginning than that. He says, I think it should be a woman's decision. It's tragic the Supreme Court is taking that away. They're not taking that away. They're leaving it up to the voters of the particular states. And by the way, the notion that the only choice that matters.
All women, literally, all women should move out of America. Simple, dude. It's awesome. You don't want to be treated like a baby incubator and have the government force your pregnancy be carried to term, and just move.
In a woman's reproductive life is the choice to abort is crazy. That's a crazy lunacy.
Happy 2 months.
There are a series of decisions that women make throughout their lives about reproductive choice. When to have sex, when to get married, when to use contraception, when to get pregnant. The baseline idea, I mean, by the way, the left.
Why is he making it seem like women are fucking literally every time you fuck, you're gonna get pregnant? That's what it is. I mean, that's a self-report. Like, okay, you can only have this attitude if you truly believe that, like, the only time you have sex is to have a child. Because he's admitting that. Like, he's literally saying that right now. He's like, women make a choice, reproductive choice, every time they have sex.
There are a series of decisions that women make throughout their lives about reproductive choice. When to have sex, when to get married, when to use contraception.
A reproductive choice you make is when to get married. Dude, that's awesome. That's great, dude. That's great. But what happens when, you know, they didn't make that conscious decision and it happened? Like, does this motherfucker know how pregnancies happen? Like, does he think that Ben Shapiro's never fucked? I'm now convinced. I know he has children, so at first I thought, like, you know, he must have fucked at least like 3 times, right? But now I'm beginning to sense that he's never fucked. He made it seem like, well, one, his doctor wife, by the way, you know, talked about how, you know, if my doctor wife was wet, then that would be a medical condition. Okay, so that was one. That was my first inclination that he's never fucked. But now he's making it seem like you press a pregnancy button as a woman and then boom, you're pregnant. Everyone knows, hypothetically, when your doctor wife wants to have a child, she makes the reproductive decision to have a child and presses a button that's called the pregnancy button. Like this. Take your finger and you press your belly button. Like this. And then before you know it, your doctor wife goes away and then comes back after a long weekend and she's pregnant. Hypothetically, this is how it works.
I mean, by the way, the left is giving away the game when they treat abortion this way. It used to be they treated abortion as sort of an evil that you had to tolerate because there were certain situations in which the baby was malformed or in which somebody was raped or was an incest case or these are difficult decisions. Now the left just...
But like, why? If you believe that life begins at conception, then who cares if it's created by rape? Straight up, the morally consistent position in that circumstance is that life is life, all life is sacred. Even if the child is a product of incest, incestuous rape, whatsoever, no matter what, it's still a fucking real baby inside of you, and that pregnancy should be carried to term. But the reason why conservatives don't want to make that concession, for the record, okay, is because they understand that would be fucking psychotic. That would be psychotic. That'd be insane. Some of them go that far. They live in Alabama. Ben is too much of a fucking California libtard to not push for that line, because deep down inside he understands if he were to advocate for that, he would look like a monster to all the other libtards that he wants to fucking frequent and go to cocktails with and hang out with when he's not on camera.
Admits it right out. It's a form of contraception for them, which demonstrates the evil. Because if you're using abortion as a form of contraception, that is one of the highest forms of moral evil I can imagine.
Why?
If you're using abortion as a way to make your life more convenient, this makes you a bad person, definitionally.
Definitionally. Wait, why? And I don't even think it works that way. I don't think people are just like, oop, time to get a fucking another aborabo. No, I think people fuck up. Shit happens. And having that access is a good thing. Yeah, no one's like, well, time to go to the abortion factory. You know, fuck it. YOLO. Another aborabo. Love it, dude. You can't have a conversation with this guy, dude. You just can't. He's not a normal human being. One of the most like human things on the fucking planet is wanting to fuck, okay? No disrespect to the ace chatters. I love you, but like, I don't get it. It's a totally normal thing, okay? It's a beautiful thing. Having sex is awesome. You know, I used to have it. I remember it was great. I remember it fondly. It's great. It's like, you know, personal thing it is a very cool thing that you can do with another human being, okay? It's like deeply personal. It's cool. Every part about it is dope, okay? I don't know how else to describe it. It's a lot of fun and it's very cool. How am I going to describe that to Ben Shapiro, who has the least healthy attitude about sex? Like we're operating on like entirely separate playing fields. You know what I mean? He just literally is like, sex is something that you do when you want to have a child. Definitionally, when your doctor wife wants to have a baby, let's say, for example, you go down and play Switch in the basement for 3 hours. Hypothetically, in this scenario, your wife will be pregnant. Yeah, hypothetically speaking, your wife's best friend, who happens to be 6'4", and Jack comes over and brings you the new copy of the Nintendo sports game. Let's say, hypothetically, you're too busy playing that.
If you're using abortion as a way to make your life more convenient, this makes you a bad person, definitionally. You're not doing it based on some extenuating circumstance. You're doing it just because it's convenient and you were too lazy to use contraception or because the condom failed or something. That is a serious moral issue with you.
Wait, what? If the condom fails, that's a moral issue with you? Wait, what? You took the... So he's saying, like, even if you actually fucking took the necessary precautions and it still failed, that's your moral issue? What the fuck? He literally is saying you shouldn't have fucked, idiot. Dude, he said you're definitionally evil if the condom broke, dude. What the fuck? Yo, this is how you should treat conservatives talking about sex. Cause it's such a funny self-report. I know we get like too triggered and too mad because it's a really emotional conversation, especially if you're a woman, like, or especially if like this is, you know, a loved one is going to be impacted by this. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to just like take a deep breath and remember that like you're literally talking to someone who's never fucked. Like when you move away from like the ramifications, or the repercussions of like not allowing women to have bodily autonomy for a brief moment, just to like pull yourself out of the conversation, you're literally talking to someone who's never fucked and thinks like fucking is immoral across the board. You know what I mean? You are such a fucking nerd, dude. Holy shit. I want to give him a wedgie. Like I want to take this adult human and like pull his fucking underwear over his head. Straight up. It's like you are such a no pussy having freak, dude. Oh my God. And you want to punish everyone. Like literally everyone around you. You are such an unpleasant psycho and you want to punish every single person around you for how annoyed you are for being just this fucking relentless weirdo.
The fact that you want that established by the Supreme Court is madness. And it demonstrates disdain for morality, for basic decency, and most of all for the constitutional structure. This was not what the Supreme Court was meant to do. And for all those who say that the Supreme Court's legitimacy has been undermined here, no. If the Supreme Court goes this way, the Supreme Court's legitimacy has been restored because their job is to look at the Constitution's text and its history and to interpret what the words mean. It is not to do your political priors. That's not what the Constitution is meant to do. And them going back to their role would be a welcome sight. You want a restoration of the institutions in America and institutional trust? Institutions are supposed to do what they're supposed to.
Got you again, stupid leftist. You went for the wedgie, yet I was wearing no underwear, and you got a handful of cheek. Checkmate, commie. Cheek mate. Oh, no. Oh, no.
To do. You're not supposed to have departments of health and human services that cram down puberty blockers on children. You're not supposed to have departments of Homeland Security that open the borders. And you're not supposed to have a Supreme Court of the United States that acts as a super legislature on behalf of Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden to do all of their political priors. You want trust in institutions? Restrict the institutions to doing what the institutions were meant to do. That's what this decision would do. So, I'm honestly, good for
And I love following a document that didn't include me because I'm black. It's so heckin' based. Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's awesome to fucking look at the Constitution and be like, this was super sick. When people were dying at the age of 35 and like, and black people were not treated as humans and women were not also treated as humans either. Like, what a fire time. If conservatives really wanted to hold up traditional values, they should all die at 35. Respect. That's true. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were not holding, traditional values like the way it was during the Constitution. I'm about to give you dysentery, bitch.